everybody, and we are back. Everybody, welcome to the third year of the Five Guys on Live. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Zachary Kirk. It is an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to be with you here with you, hoping to be your number one source for people, politics, and pop culture. Men, how are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, all is well. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Blessed and highly favored. We are joined tonight. We're going to get right into it, guys. We have so much to talk about. I know that you guys cannot wait to talk about how you are mourning the loss of Queen Elizabeth II of England. But before we go into that, we are excited to have joining us in our rotating fifth seat, the one and the only Sir Ken Lashley Coleman of the BBC show. Ken, welcome back. This is your second appearance with the Five Guys.
Yes, I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you for having me, you guys. And I love y'all little video intro. That's hot.
You know, we do what we can, but we have to give all credit to the creative director who made that happen, the one, the only Oliver Twist. If you don't follow Oliver on social media, you need to. He is a producer, director, just a jack of multiple trades. He is most known for the work that he does in handling the production of the one, the only T.S. Madison. So really, really, really excited to share that, and really thankful for the work that he put in to make this happen. So I want to say, Sir Ken, can you tell us about, very briefly before we jump to tonight's topics, the BBC show and where our viewers can tune in to watch it? And also, like, what does it mean? Because some people were wondering, like, the BBC, like, what does that mean? Because, you know, it could mean something else. It could mean British Broadcasting Channel.
It could, but it doesn't. The BBC stands for the Bicker and Banter with a Coleman. Of course, my last name is Coleman, and basically it's just a show that airs live every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on iHeart's WTT radio station. And again, it is live, so no matter where you are in the world, you can listen. It just depends on what time zone you're on. And basically, I have special guests. Sometimes I have regular co-hosts on the radio show with me, and we talk about everything from politics, social media, religion. We talk about sex. We talk about music. We talk about a lot of variety of things, and it's just a very, I guess you would say, a very blunt show. It is for mature audiences only, so if you're not 25 and up, it's probably not going to be a show for you. But also we play music. So Tuesdays, we typically have a theme of the night where it be house music. A lot of people have been requesting the music mashup. So
are we able to request music? Like, if we want to have an independent artist portrayed, like I know Vince does a lot of work with music. If we wanted to have someone's music played on your show, could we do that? Can you do that for us?
Absolutely. I think Darius is supposed to come on the show a long time ago. He never came. But
he's gonna sing live. Is Darius gonna sing live?
No, I won't be singing live. And if we're going to talk about things that haven't happened that are supposed to happen, we can go down the full list, Sir Ken.
Well, we will. He's good. Look at Zach's face.
There seems to be a bit of history here.
This is my Morehouse brother. I have to give him a hard time.
You guys go way back, like, okay, very good. So let's talk about, when you talk about going way back, we're talking about Queen Elizabeth. And that is the very first topic of the night, jumping right into it. And for all of our viewers, we need you to comment and let us know your thoughts. That's the whole point of Five Guys on Live, is that you are live with us. So please drop your comments. You are the home team, and we are your homies. I want to read this out because I don't want to mess up anybody's name, right? Like, my name is Zachary. I get angry when people misspell it and spell it with an H because H is such a weak sounding Zach. I'm Zach with a K, a very strong, aggressive alpha name. So Queen Elizabeth II, named Queen Elizabeth Alexandria Mary Windsor by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and of other realms and territories, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, died on Friday, September the 8th, at the ripened age, some would say spoiled, of 96. She leaves behind a nation who mourns her and social media users who have been very quick to dissect and analyze her legacy. Sir Ken Lashley Coleman, as our man with the most British sounding name and as someone who loves white people culture, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the passing of Queen Elizabeth?
To be honest, first of all, you said white people culture, okay. I really don't have any thoughts about it. I mean, she was 96, 97. I mean, how much longer do we expect her to live? I honestly thought she passed away a couple of months ago. I do not feel honestly any way about this situation. It's unfortunate.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate anytime
Yeah.
someone passes away, right? So, huh?
Yeah, you was in it.
What was that?
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was saying that it's unfortunate that anytime someone passes away. However, this is not just like something that I mean, it doesn't really move me honestly because I feel some kind of way about the whole monarchy and the British people and so it doesn't move me. I'm sorry.
What do you mean you feel some kind of way? And then we're going to go to
Well,
Zach. I see that he has a lot to say. He's also someone who values and really supports white culture. He went away. But now what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, the whole colonization thing, the fact that I think one of the things I've learned about the British the British people is like, they had this thing away well back when they were saying that they promised the people of the Caribbean that if they come over that they would have this better life and all that stuff. And then when they got over here, they experienced like all this high racism. They got treated pretty much like black people did here in this country. And so for me, it's kind of like I can't get down with anyone that stands up in leadership with that. And then also there's this whole controversy about the diamonds, the rubies that the queen wore, and they said that was given to them peacefully from the people, and that was not true at all. And so I mean, to just rank it in layman's term is just another rich white person that I really don't care about.
Guys, any other thoughts? And why you got, who wants to go next? We're waiting on the, to unmute. But, Sir Ken does have a really good point. I did a little bit of research because, I really did want to research to what extent that Queen Elizabeth is an upholder of colonization, because a lot of people are blaming her for things that were done under the rule of Queen Victoria because people don't know history. So a lot of the imperialism, it doesn't fall under Queen Elizabeth. It really does fall under Queen Victoria. But those diamonds were indeed stolen. The crown that she wears that probably will now be passed down and worn by Camilla contains the Kannor diamond that was taken from India. We have the biggest diamond in the world found in her sepulcher. It was stolen from South Africa in 1905. Also, we know that and that Kannor diamond was stolen from the 10-year-old king of Punjab. His name was King Mahara Duleep Singh, and it was taken in the 1840s. And then you also have the Cullen diamond too from South Africa. You have the ruby that was stolen, that's known as the Black Princess ruby, taken from Afghanistan. The St. Edward's sapphire, actually considered to be a religious relic. It was taken from Sri Lanka. So you're right; these diamonds were stolen from nations that were colonized by the British. Gentlemen, what do you guys think? Any other thought on the Queen and her, some would say untimely, I would say, blessed passing, because she was real old.
Yeah. She was 96 years old. And to that point, Zach, I did some research on my own, and her reign spanned over 7 decades. That's a term of 14 U.S. presidents and 15 British prime ministers. So she been holding that crown and that scepter for a long time. Also in my research, I didn't even know, and part of my ignorance or what have you, but I'm not as invested in, I guess, British culture, everything that they're doing across the pond. I really don't understand why us in America, we are that invested in what they do, even in shows like Bridgerton and things. I've never been that guy to get into it or what have you. But with all that being said, I didn't know that Australia and Canada are still under colonialism. Like, and they, in my, mind, they're pretty industrialized and pretty, one of the, top 10 leading nations globally, what have you. So of course, when you think of colonial rule, my mind automatically goes to, the islands and so on and so forth. Shout out to Barbados for, making that disconnect. With the monarchy. I also read that Jamaica, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines are also considering leaving the monarchy soon. So, it should be really interesting to see what King Charles does. Another thing that I know they prided themselves in terms of just members of the monarchy is that you're supposed to stay neutral in terms of just, current events and affairs and things of that nature. And that's one thing that a lot of people did comment on the Queen, that you never knew where she stood. And that could be a good or a bad thing, but versus King Charles coming in, he's been pretty, I guess you could say, transparent, or not transparent, a little bit more transparent on where he stands on just, global issues, human issues, so on and so forth. And he has a sketchy past already. We already know Princess Diana's situation, the Camilla situation, and then not only is he now head of the monarchy, but he's also head of the Church of England. So there's like a morality conflict that, I'm sure he's going to have to, explain himself about or stand against or what have you. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Now, there's one thing that I will say, that in all of the investment that Americans have in the pomp and circumstance of the monarchy and things of that nature, I hope that we can sort of shift that energy and sort of focus and scope more on just the uprising of quote unquote woke culture, like, with minorities over there. And like Zach, even in the topic of tonight's this specific topic or whatever, just, the Twitter response, it's a lot of things. A lot of people, like Sir Ken just said, that aren't, really don't give two nickels about what happened because of just the history of the British rule. So I'm really curious to see what shifts and changes will Britain have in that, the minority society, as we have the Black Lives Matter, so on and so forth.
You're right, Vince. And also the reality is Queen Elizabeth never acknowledged the role that their monarchy played in supporting the Black slave trade. They never acknowledged, like you said, like, for instance, the Black Lives Matter movement, never acknowledged the things that were going on with George Floyd and the big, and the outrage that was worldwide. They never acknowledged that. And then also there was that interview like with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry and with Oprah, and they even spoke about the racism that was happening over in the kingdom, and even people they never said who it was, but someone was inquiring about what the skin tone of the baby might be. But I can tell you one thing, if you go to places that are hot enough, people might not be as fair-skinned as you might be used to. So I think it's just important for us to think about, just on a larger scale, how that monarchy has affected the entire world, not just people in any specific country. The entire world has been affected by that colonialism, by that monarchy. And to go, how many decades did you say? 7 decades without ever once acknowledging it is grossly egregious. And a lot of people are saying rest in peace. I'm saying rest the same way you reigned. And if that was full of hell, then yeah,
that's a strong statement.
I'm gonna tell you, and I don't necessarily, people are saying that, but I'm gonna say this. Before I thought about it, right? And that's what we got. Mont Perry says, great point, Darius, and I agree with you, Mont. It is indeed a great point. But I'm gonna say this. I was gonna make a TikTok, I was gonna jump right out there like all other Black folk on social media, but then I saw that double rainbow over the statue of Queen Victoria, and I said, God has spoken. And I shut my mouth and I said, peace be still, because I ain't gonna say a word, because I need all the good karma and love that I can get. And not only do I need blessings to rain down on me, my home state of Mississippi needs the rain to stop. That takes us, unfortunately, Zach had to bounce right out. Hopefully he'll come back. While Mississippi is dealing with a water crisis, Zach Thomas is dealing with a Philadelphia internet crisis. We know that hopefully, though, soon it will be resolved. We go right into the discussion of how the heavy rains have impacted areas throughout the United States throughout the course of the summer, none as public and as receiving as much attention as what is happening in my home state and Zach's home city of Jackson, Mississippi. Gentlemen, we've seen this. There has been lots of outcry, lots of outrage, including lots of Twitter outrage. We have 2 very popular tweets that came out, one saying the Mississippi water crisis is insane, especially considering how much money we just sent to Ukraine. We had another one that said U.S. to Ukraine, $8 billion, U.S. to Israel, $3.3 billion, U.S. to Taiwan, $1 billion, U.S. to Mississippi, don't drink the water. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I want to open the floor, and gentlemen, you tell me what you think. Vince, I think you submitted this first. Aisha Nash said, child, don't get me started. I do want to get you started. Gentlemen, what do you think?
Hey, well, I guess I'll hop in real quick. Yeah, I know that it is a current major topic right now. Extremely unfortunate. I am glad that it is making headway, like in the first quarter base of it all, versus when we hear a lot of unfortunate things, it's sort of like 3-5 months after the initial incident happened. So shout out for the media and shout out for the people of Jackson for being vulnerable and transparent and just posting everything that they're going through. I do know that there have been many relief efforts that have started to send water, clean water, bottled water to Jackson, Mississippi. And of course, my heart and my mind and my thoughts definitely go to the tweet that you just made. We can send X million dollars, to Ukraine, but then we're people in your own backyard struggling, and it's really difficult to even see how you can sort of differentiate between the two. Like, right. I don't, from a person in political power, like, I don't understand that. Now, I will say I did hear something, and maybe Zach, you can speak to this. I read something where, and I'm sort of paraphrasing, that Biden or federally, they could send money, but the governor has to accept it and then, disseminate it around. And so is it like the governor blocking or not? Or is he delaying? Like, what does that look like? I didn't want to speak too much on it, but yeah.
So, so that's a good point. Yes, the governor has to accept the money, and the governor is not the governor wanting to accept the money. But here's the reality of it, and this is what really bothers me about those tweets. And actually, when I go back, let me take a brief moment to go back, because I didn't have to say much of anything. I did tweet today, but homegirl under the tweet got young lady together, and I'll read it out. I'll make it big so everybody can see it, right here. It starts off with Mississippi water crisis insane, and then the young lady said, the overall point of my sentiment is that we clearly are intentionally mismanaging money. It goes without saying that racism is a big factor here. Absolutely. Calling me dumb is unnecessary, because that's what the majority of Twitter people did to this young lady. They ripped her apart in the comments because she was ill-informed. Here's the reality. $4.46 billion was allocated to my home state of Mississippi in November of 2021 under President Joe Biden's infrastructure bill. The governor of Mississippi is Tater Tot Reeves. This man with his alopecia face, paleness, salami skin, sat there and has literally refused to give the money to the city of Jackson, which is 80% Black. He has literally said, I am not giving the money to Mississippi. The federal government cannot dictate where money goes when it is given to states. They can recommend it, and that's the problem. This money was carved out for Jackson and Mississippi. It was encouraged, it was urged. People like Representative Benny Thompson begged for this money to be used to update the water system in Jackson and to improve the quality of living in the Mississippi Delta. But Tate Reeves refused to give the money there. The money, much of it is still sitting there. And now he sits with a giant tank of water outside of the governor's mansion, where he is able to bathe and drink without problems. And again, if you want to see that salami skin, I am happy to show it to you. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Governor Tate Reeves of the great state of Mississippi.
It's terrible. And just to know that this is an issue that didn't just start overnight. This is something that they've been under fire about for decades. Even the EPA has told Jackson that they needed to update their water system. And it's crazy because, weather affects their access to clean water. Like if it's too cold or if it's raining too much, like small things like that in the capital of a state should not be an issue. So it's unfortunate that the governor is holding up funds in that way. And this is my friend Aisha. Aisha is from Jackson as well. So, and I know that you were saying that Zach is from Jackson.
We love a Jacktown Soul City queen here. And speaking of which, Jacktown native Zach Thomas.
You are really trying it today. First, you started with the K.
Goodness, yellow Zach Thomas.
Thank you. First, you started with the K, and the H is in the Bible, so that's stronger than that K. So we'll let you have
I give you credit. I give you credit because the H, the Zacharias in the Bible is there, but so too is Zacchaeus.
Who is that? H also.
Oh, you don't know
Right.
your word like
Jackie
you
is
think
he
you know your
climbed up
word.
the
Hallelujah.
sycamore tree.
You don't know your
And he
word
was-
like
and he
you
was
We
think
don't.
too
We
high.
don't know him. We don't know
And
him.
Too high.
the kids, baby. You don't know your word like you say.
We don't know him. I do
We have to
apologize.
come
I'm having
to
some
the
technical
Lord.
difficulties over here. But
It's a
yes, I am
Philadelphia
from the
internet
great
crisis.
state of Mississippi and the great city of Jackson. Luckily, I've been keeping up with this story, especially because my family's still there. And it has been an issue for about 10 years. And Mississippi has been on like a boil water notice for a while. And this has not been an issue just under Governor Tate, but other governors, Republican governors before him. And so it's sad that a city that's 80% Black has to deal with this modern day racism dead in your face because you don't want to have the proper water system, the proper franchise infrastructure. Because if you look at the streets, it's even worse than the water. And so it's just crazy that we don't get the funding that we do need in cities like Jackson and other cities within the South.
And the money is there. I want to overemphasize, like the Biden administration upheld their promise to people across the South, despite who voted for who. And I want to emphasize, I've done a deep dive. I'll be talking more about it on other social media platforms around the 2020 voter turnout and how Black voters in Mississippi didn't come out. They didn't vote because I'm still baffled how we have in my home state representation from Cindy Highsmith.
But we won't vote in Mississippi, Zach, and that's an issue. We won't. The Blacks won't, and this is a fight that I have to battle every year with relatives. Why aren't you voting? My vote don't count. Hell, it's not gonna count if you don't go. Like
we have to fix that. That's the work that we have in front of us. It's the work that we have to do.
Are they just, conditioned mentally because they haven't seen change in decades? Is it just like, in Georgia, there was a glimpse of hope, and they don't have to my knowledge, a Stacey Abrams-esque, type person to sort of fuel that fire. Like, how could you sort of, energize the people? Because in my mind, it's like if this has been an ongoing thing and there hasn't been any change under a Republican, especially with where we're living right now, this will be the perfect time to energize and try to at least get somebody else in.
You bring up a great point. Here is the reality of some history that people don't understand, and in breaking this down, I'm going to have to find a way to summarize it quickly. That Mississippi has experienced the harshest backlash during the civil rights movement to gain the right to vote of any other state. When Black people in this country, when the formerly enslaved were given freedom, what state had the most elected Black officials immediately put into place? The state of Mississippi. The very first Black senator in the United States of America was a graduate of Alcorn State University and was from the state of Mississippi. One of the very first representatives also from the great state of Mississippi. Because of this, the white supremacists who were beholden to the Confederacy put into place the harshest, strictest voter suppression efforts known to man in place, and they terrorized Black people from that moment until today. Lynchings are still happening. You have all the horrible things of Freedom Summer and all the huge, massive fight to vote. I don't know of anyone in the state of Mississippi who doesn't know of a relative or a friend who has not had a relative or friend die or was murdered in the fight to vote. That is how deep and how surreal this is. I grew up in a small town called DeKalb, Mississippi. My mother worked for over 35 years in a neighboring town called Philadelphia, and they had the Neshoba County Fair in that county. In Neshoba County, the Neshoba County Fair was a constant stop for every single major political event in Mississippi. Ronald Reagan literally kicked off his campaign there. Do you know how many times I've been to the Neshoba County Fair? 0, because Black people are not allowed to go. It is white only. And even though in 2022 that is not stated, it is still known. Because there was a time frame when at that fair we were lynched publicly. So
but
that's the horror of Mississippi, and it's just a reality that not enough of us are talking about and fighting against.
But Vince do bring up a great point, especially with the word hope. And I think they have lost hope within Mississippi. Like under Obama, there was hope. And so they came out to vote. Now in the past, there hasn't been hope because we have things like this happening with the water system, with the infrastructures and things of that nature. So there's no hope. And so if there's no hope, then what else is there?
Right. And then for me, just another question to both of you, like, or anybody on the panel, like federally, because now we're sort of teetering into ethics. Now we're sort of teetering into humanity. Like now you're risking people's lives because you are choosing to be complacent and ignorant and not allocate the funds, and you're choosing not to upgrade the city's water pipes and things of that nature, which is again ultimately affecting people's livelihoods. So when is it the point where an ethics department or the federal whatever president can step in and do something in that sense? You get what I'm saying? Is there ever a point?
It's not ethical. Let me rephrase. It's not ethical, but it's legal. This is how the government is set up, right? So one thing, many people had a lot of different criteria in place around the COVID-19 relief money. But the bottom line was the only way that money could have gotten passed was to allow states to allocate it as they saw fit, because the people elect that governor. The people of Mississippi elected Tate Reeves. The people of Mississippi elected Cindy Heitkamp. The people of Mississippi elected these officials. And so until they vote them out, there is nothing else that can be done, because in theory, what is happening in Mississippi to the city of Jackson is the will of the people of Mississippi. But there is a little bit of hope, and some of that hope comes in the form of President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness that was passed this summer. We haven't had a chance to talk about it. Deborah Denard was not happy about it. I remember she was saying, I paid my student loans, Deborah said, and you need to pay yours too, Zach Kirk, of which the student loan amount is plentiful. And Deborah, I'm still going to be paying because I don't qualify. But here's the thing. There was a meme online that said, people saying that you should pay your student loans because I pay my student loans is equal to people when Jesus divided up the five loaves of bread and 2 fish, equivalent saying, Jesus, it's not fair for you to give these people fish and bread when I brought my lunch today to come see you. Now that, Deborah Denard, is what was said, and you can add that to the book of Zacchaeus. Gentlemen, what do you think about this?
That is not what they said.
Well, there is no book of Zacchaeus. There is a minor prophet named Zacchaeus. But gentlemen, what do you think? There are a lot of people on both sides who are either happy about this and who are not happy. I want to know what you guys think. Was it enough? Is there more to do? Is this right?
I think it's not fair because not everyone qualifies. And so if you're going to do it for one, do it for all. And the ones who paid and you paid off, congratulations. I'm sorry. You should have waited like me. Good things come to those who wait. Ain't that what they say?
It does.
Patience is a virtue.
This is something, Darius, I know we also talked about, and you were one of the people who were really pushing for full loan forgiveness.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, I think that the number 45 million people in America owe a combined 1.7 trillion in federal student debt. And most of those people owe less than $10,000. So I think that the Biden administration did a good job with the $20K and then with the offer or the $10K with the offer to do an additional $10K if you met a certain threshold. I think it's a good start. And I think it's just incumbent upon us to keep begging for more forgiveness. But the major thing that we have to remember, Biden and, the analysts, they're doing this to support the economy, because when you are able to clear that kind of debt that these people have amassed just to get a degree when college should be free in the first place, you provide opportunities for those people to buy homes. You provide opportunities for those people to make other purchases, because the debt is imaginary. Like, we owe the government for education. Like, it's an imaginary debt that they really could just wipe out, honestly. So we owe the government for going to school so that we can work and pay taxes to the government. So essentially, they're using our money, our tax dollars, giving it back to us. Think about it as a rebate. You went to college, you got your degree, you're going to work. So now you'll get a few dollars back off of that, off of what you spent. And so,
You know what's not a imaginary debt? Yeah, I'll tell you what's not an imaginary debt. The debt that is owed to me as a descendant of a former enslaved person in this
absolutely.
country. And the fact, and this is something that people, all these Republicans out here complaining and angry about this loan forgiveness. You know, I don't, to what extent do they realize or remember and realize that many of these corporations, the Rockefellers, the people that own all of the wealth in this country, that came from the work of my ancestors who were enslaved and not paid a dime, where everything was taken from them. That's where the money came from. So when you talk about reparations, I don't want the United States government to cut me a check. I want the United States of America to repay the debt that I should have never incurred in the first place, to get an education just to have an equal footing in this country, or at least be seen as moving towards an equal footing, because the footing still isn't equal. That is a debt that is owed. America owes me a debt. So student loan forgiveness is what you owe me at the bare minimum in the first place, because you still devalue my home property. You still profile me when I walk down the street. You still shortchange me for every job that I go for, because that is the nature of systemic racism in this country. So give me my money.
And I just also want to point out that whether or not he forgave any of the debt, I forgave myself a long time ago. So, you know, I'll probably leave this earth owing the federal government for my degrees, and I'm not done going to get them. So whatever they decide to do, that's on them. Hopefully it'll help them sleep better at night.
And like my mama used to say, you came in this world with bills, you're going to leave with bills.
That's it. And Deborah, I hope you get that check.
I saw that you came off mute, Sir Ken. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I just agree with what Darius said. You know, I really think that education should be free. And it does seem like a rebate when you go. It's like, you know, you put in all this money to finally get a job, and now you're still paying back. You're still barely making enough money to make a living because you are paying back. But it's like, well, you paid a lot up front, but you'll get a little bit of it back. But it's still working towards your education, you're working towards labor. It's like, I think about other countries that has free education, and it's just like they are at such a high success level, but we're supposed to be a country that that's supposed to be like the best, one of the best countries. Like, you come to America and you got it. It's the American dream. But then it's just like I'm thinking about the money I'm paying right now in school. So I think about how, like, so many people that started along this journey with me that cannot even continue the journey because they weren't allotted the proper income or the proper grants. Or I think there's this thing now that changed with Pell is if you started school, I think if you started school a few years back, and there's a 5-year gap in between you decide to go back, you don't qualify for Pell anymore. So it's like, well, how is this person supposed to better enhance their education? How are they supposed to get a better job? How are they supposed to be a better person? But now you're telling me that because they waited 5 years to make a decision, oh, you know what, I need to go back because I need to advance myself, that I don't get the assistance that I need. So, I mean, it's just, honestly, it's just fucked up all the way around. It's really fucked up. And I just feel like, you know, I hear a lot of people, like you said, Republicans. I think there were a lot of people that were talking about this like maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago, was saying it's not fair because, you know, I paid all my money or I paid this and I'm not getting my money paid back. And I think Joe Biden replied, well, why is Zach laughing? I'm not Zach. Why is Kirk laughing? What's his name? Anyway, yes. Oh, he on mute. But anyway, what I was saying was I think Joe Biden's retaliation or response to that was pretty much, well, the rich, y'all been getting millions of dollars all the damn time. Like, so what? So what about the poor people that didn't get those millions of dollars from the money y'all get back on your write-offs? I mean, I just really think, first of all, my question to you is, do you ever think that we will get to a place where our education will be free in this country? That's my question to you, Zach.
I think we're getting there. This is something that President Biden wants to make happen. It was something that he campaigned on, and it's not hard to do. Actually, this was originally a part, I want to say, of the COVID plan that had to get taken out, was money to fund free 2-year college degrees and technical degrees for every student who wanted to get it. Also in the original plan was the money to offset the cost of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, even though most people had to already raise the minimum wage more than that to keep up with worker demand. It's just that they don't have any federal money because Republicans wouldn't allow it to be there. So yes, I do believe it's going to happen. If we are able to maintain control of Congress, of the House and the Senate in 2022 at these midterms, I believe that President Biden is going to swiftly enact rapid legislation to really solidify his legacy as one of the greatest one-term presidents in the history of America. And I think he may opt on his own to not run again.
Right.
That's what I'm saying when I say that. And I believe that he will be able to do that quickly. I think one of the things that he's going to do is ensure universal pre-K for every American child, as well as tuition-free technical school and community college for every American student. That is what I believe.
Zach, let me ask you one more question. Do you think that we'll eventually get to see those reparations they promised our ancestors?
No.
Not in this lifetime.
No.
Really?
Because look at this. I
may get to see it.
Some people see it, and it's because there are pockets that are going back. So for instance, like Georgetown University is paying reparations to some of its old students back in the day that were denied admissions and things of that nature. And so some areas are having reparations, but as a federal government, no, we won't see that.
This was something that stood out to me in doing the research around this was this right here, is that this topic. The majority of Americans say they are less likely to vote for candidates who support President Biden's student loan bailout, a new poll published by the Washington Times show. Here is the thing, and why I wanted to share this, is that there were a lot of Black people on social media complaining about what President Biden pushed through as not being enough. Those same Black people, I wrote names down, I go back to check facts. They're not talking about Ted Cruz and congressional Republicans putting bills in place or writing bills to block this. They're not talking about the states like Georgia who plan to tax the money or the write-off to penalize poor citizens already. They're not talking about that. And they're certainly not talking about this. President Biden and Democrats who fought to gain just $20,000 in forgiveness are going to face a political hit from this by moderates, independents, and those who are aligned with Republicans and conservatives. We could possibly lose the midterms by doing what was right. Why isn't there outrage from more of these same Black people around this issue? That's what I want to know.
I'll tell you who was outraged, Vince. You remember what the White House started doing after they announced this loan forgiveness?
Them PPP loans, baby. The screenshots, the receipts.
The White House came with the receipts. Like, wait a minute, Marjorie Taylor Greene down there in Milledgeville with the sideways face. How much money did you get forgiven for PPP loans? You know, so, and I think that the White House thought that
$194,000. It was between 186 and 194 went to Musty Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she musty because she's working out in that CrossFit gym with that trainer who is polyamorous, and they be having, well, you know what they be doing. It makes them musty.
Okay, so anyway, aside from her personal hygiene and her fitness choices, it started another debate, you know, as we looked at all of the PPP loan forgiveness that was just public and lawful. And it started another debate that if they could do that much money for these high powerful people who are supposed to be providing paychecks to people with these fake businesses all over the nation, if they could have done that much, then they should have been able to do more loan forgiveness for students or former students. So it's just, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
But I say you just keep nickeling and diming them until we get what we want, and we'll be fine. Yeah. This is not the end. This won't be the first shit.
But here's the thing.
I agree. I real quick, I agree with that, Darius. You know, it's a step. It's a step, and we've been wanting this step since I've been alive. You know, and so I'm just appreciating the effort. I'm appreciating the first step, and hopefully more will definitely come. For me, as a person that has paid off all of their student loans, I'm glad that this forgiveness is happening, because I still have family members that are degreed that are still paying off student loans. And I still have family members and friends that weren't able to finish school because life happened, because they didn't have the finances to do so, because of medical challenges, so on and so forth, that are still taxed with these student loans. And that's also a percentage of the population that I think we tend to forget in these conversations, though it may be a small percentage, but there's a group of people that unfortunately could not finish school and are still, having to pay off these student loans. So I'm glad that this is happening. And I mean, it's about time. It's about time. I don't feel no way. More blessings to you.
This is my question. So I hear what you're saying, small incremental steps. Why should President Biden and congressional Democrats do anything for this group of voters when they are going to be so ungrateful in the response? They're risking re-election. They are risking their ability to do other work by giving in to what this portion of the electorate wants, and that same portion never even rewards it. They don't thank them. They don't come back and then tweet out positive things. They just keep attacking because that's the popular thing to do. That's what gets clicks. That's what gets clout. That's what gets retweeted by the shade room. And so personally, I'm like, at what point will President Biden write this portion of the electorate off? At what point even should he?
He can't write those people off, because in his acceptance speech, he said, I'm not the president for the Democrats. I'm not the president for the Republicans. I'm the president of the people, of these United States. And so they are part of the people of the United States. And so you can't isolate one group because you disagree or they disagree with your politics. You have to be inclusive with a ball.
And I also feel that
Republicans are fighting against this loan forgiveness right now, and those people are silent about it. And that's what angers me. I say write them off. Goodbye.
Are they silent intentionally, or are they silent because they just don't know that it's right? Because I think no, for real, Zach. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. These Republicans are very strategic, and they work, below the belt, under the carpet, under the rug, and then drop a bomb over Baghdad. And it's like, well, dang, we didn't see that coming or whatever. So I think the more awareness, even in this conversation, which I appreciate, because I didn't even know. Actually, even me researching tonight, I did see that over 20 GOP governors, are asking Biden to withdraw this student loan forgiveness. And I also saw the tax that some Republicans are threatening to, uphold for people that are potentially forgiven, or so on and so forth. So, I mean, I think the more awareness that this topic raises, hopefully they will get the backbite. And as we are seeing with the Roe v. Wade situation, it's biting them in the ass in that, element. So this may bite them in the ass again, So
right. If they know about it, I guess that's, I made a video about it on TikTok. I just checked it. I had a video about Prince William bending over for Rose Hanbury, and it's gotten over 200,000 views. But then I have the video about student loans, and it's only gotten 2,000 views. So I agree with you. Maybe people don't know. I have to redo it.
You said he was doing the bending.
He was. Prince William trans on Twitter, and he's known as the Prince of Peggin, Peggin. I will not go into detail about what that means. I will. You can go to my TikTok for more information, or you can just search for it on your own. It is not appropriate, although our show is at the 9 p.m. prime slot. It is still not appropriate because we try our very best to be PG-13, if not PG. And speaking of receipts, Darius, you said
I just say one thing before you move on. I want to put in a plug, especially for those parents and people who are watching. FAFSA is coming up, and so it's time to get started. If you have a student that's a senior, or please fill it out. Even if you don't know they're going to college, please fill it out. As a person who didn't know and was a first gen, I am begging you, this is the time to do it. It's opening October 1st. So please.
So but don't you have to wait until you get your income tax filed so that
if you've done it this year, yeah.
Oh, but okay. you can do an update. You can do it now and then update it once you do your
But this is for next fall, so FAFSA starts now. Yeah.
The world has changed since my FAFSA days, even though they weren't that long ago. And so
I'm sorry, before you go to the next topic, I can feel you segue. And there was something that you told me when we shot that beautiful video about the public service loan forgiveness that I did not know. I was not aware that you people who work in public service on the front lines, such as teachers, nurses, etc., we know that after you make 20 years of qualifying payments on your student loans, then they will give you total forgiveness. But there is an updated guidance, and if you can tell what that is, Zach.
Right. President Biden, even though he can only forgive $20,000 of debt for those students who were at the most vulnerable states when they enter into college, there are a lot of other things written into this law that benefit people far beyond the $20,000. So if you are a public servant and you have been a public servant at any point in your life, those years of service can count towards student loan forgiveness. So because you have to apply, you have to get approved, they're going to review your service, but you have to, and you also have to get verification. Like for me, I worked in 2 different school districts. I have to get verification information from both school districts, which I requested. But once I get that, all 17 years of my work as a public educator can then qualifies to be discharged. So that would count as though I made 17 years of consecutive payments on my student loans. And that right there is a Biden win. If you people are not out here praising this man for the work that he's done, then I don't know what you praise. But it's okay if you don't praise him. Book Zacchaeus, the rocks will cry out. And when you speak about the receipts, Darius, that you said were brought to the table to lay out and tear down those PPPers, there was also this past weekend a celebrity Vince that brought out some receipts. He is the one and the only Ray J. These are 2 little clips from the Ray J Instagram Live where he made some pretty interesting accusations that he says can be backed up with receipts. Twitter went wild. Vince, what happened?
Yeah, so Ray J went in the other night, basically just giving us more credible information around the whole sex tape scandal between him and Kim K. If you haven't watched the new season of The Kardashians, I've only seen, I think, the first episode, maybe first 2 episodes and a half. I don't recall. It was sometime this summer when I watched it. But the first episode was centered around the sex tape. And may I mind you, this sex tape happened once upon a time, about 10, 12, 11 years ago. And for it to sort of come back to the light now. And then I believe in the second episode, when Kanye was introduced into the season, they started painting Ray J as the bad guy. And, he plotted and planned, and it was a scheme that Todd set up to, do the whole sex tape situation. And so Ray J, of course, now, him being a father and him wanting to protect his family, he's just been completely fed up. So he basically went on Instagram Live because now he's controlling his whole narrative, and he showed receipts as to Kris Jenner, the contracts that she generated, how they actually had to film the sex tape multiple times because the first sex tape didn't capture Kim K in a good angle. Or what have you, and what he could say, what he couldn't say, the money behind it. He was comparing and contrasting the penmanship, so everyone knew that this was actually Kim K. He wasn't forging this, so on and so forth. So basically, now he's just trying to control his own narrative, stop having the Kardashians paint him as the bad guy, and also letting him know that they keep introducing this story into the press, and it's not him, and also how Kanye pretty much involved himself in the situation. He screenshotted, recorded, audio recorded, video recorded the conversations with Kanye, so on and so forth. And so now anybody that has been anti-Kardashian, this is like their their reign of victory. This is their victory march to sort of, I guess, have the Kardashian empire tumble, whatever that looks like in their world. I'm not invested in it, but I did find it interesting. Now he's starting to speak out about it.
I have a few. So, I didn't watch the Ray J Live, and this is not something that I could find where it was a lot of articles that explained it. So right. I really appreciate that. But I want to clarify some things for the audience because I want to make sure that I'm right. Number one, Kris Jenner organized the filming of the Kim Kardashian Ray J intimate moment.
Yes.
Not only did she organize the filming of it, but she paid for it. She was the producer of her own daughter's, what some will call
the second one.
The second.
So wait.
Well, I know, Sir Ken, you are the expert on this culture. Tell us what you're going to add in.
No, I'm not the expert. I just, Anyway, I think what happened was the first take was made just on their own, and then what Chris
Right.
was trying to do was trying to capitalize off of it. So in order to properly capitalize off of it, she had them to orchestrate, like Vince said, a second one, and then a third one, because the second one wasn't showing like the right angles or her daughter looking in the best light, allegedly.
And so literally, right, like that's what I'm saying right here. What Demetrius, like Sean is saying, like she filmed her own, like she organized for her.
She didn't film it. She didn't film it. She told them to do it over. She was just telling them like what would look good.
But the next sex tape wasn't the reason why they went with the first one was because the second one didn't get Kim K in the best angles, which tells me that Kris Jenner had to watch it. And then the third one didn't get held away because it was too raunchy, which tells me that Kris Jenner had to watch it.
She watched it, but she didn't film it.
Still, you watch your daughter have sex.
I mean,
we don't want to get a ban because TikTok. I mean, what's this? Facebook already suppresses everything I post because of the copyright. I'm accused of stealing music where I did like live streams of workout classes, and I have like 187 violations. So they don't like the algorithm doesn't let my content flow. So let's not say the S word. Intimate moments. Kim Kardashian. There was intimate moments here. Very raunchy moments of intimacy.
I mean, this story kind of seems a little off to me still. Like, I know that Ray J was able to provide like certain stuff, but I think the whole execution of it all just still seemed a little off to me. Like, I think when I seen it when he was going on live, I think he had someone else recording, but the recording wasn't steady. And then he was like, oh, well, it ain't coming up, or I don't block. Why does it show me on block now? And I was just on it. And wait, we're gonna go show you the screen on the wall. It was just like, if you knew that you were gonna do this, why didn't you already have everything that you wanted to show executed in order properly to go ahead and show everybody what's really going on? It was almost like he had bits of things to show seemed questionable, but it almost kind of seemed like he was way where it didn't go all that he agreed to. The thing is this: you got the correct. You knew what Chris said, and you went with it and did it. So it's kind of like, well, what's the point about crying about now?
Well, for me. I'm sorry, real quick. So for me, not to defend Ray J, but we do know Ray J is very outlandish in his behavior. So even the way he was holding the phone, like that's typical Ray J. Like I didn't see anything different than what we know him to do on Facebook Lives.
Brandy's brother he acts up.
Yeah, I mean everybody know that it is what it is. So that's
did you not watch College Hill?
You don't love and hip hop.
Right. Even the versus battle. I mean, what he did was not off brand for how Ray J is. So that's why I didn't see anything about it.
Real quick question, Vince. On Twitter, they were saying that Ray J was a star of the verses, that he sounded great. That's not.
We're not gonna go into that because that's a lie and a half.
Oh, okay. No. I didn't know. My bad.
We ain't gonna go. We're gonna go into that. And I forgot my second point. It'll come back to me.
Well, I just want to say this one thing. And I know we might receive some hate or whatever, but I've never liked the Kardashians and the Jenner clan, and I'm gonna say it publicly. They built their brand off the backs of Black people. And I'm going to say Ray J. I'm going to say Kanye West. I'm going to say O.J. Simpson. I'm going to say Tiger, Black China. Like, they built their brand off of our backs by laying on their backs. And so I'm okay. I believe Ray J.
I disagree with that. I really, truly disagree with that. And I honestly do not like when people say that. It's not that, like, I like the Kardashians. I'm not, like, crazy about them, but I do like them, and I like them because I think what people fail to realize is we know how she got her fame, right? It just so happened that she happened to have a mother that was a marketing genius. she took the opportunity that she created and she capitalized off of it. She was able to.
But how?
What do you mean? How? It doesn't matter.
In nasty ways.
It
In
doesn't
nasty,
matter.
It was a black man.
nasty ways.
But if
It was a
white,
black man.
but guess what? What if it was a white man and she made the tape?
If it was a
And
white
Nobody
man,
want to see her, and nobody want to see her and Pale Pete Davidson having sex. I mean,
But I'm
intimate
just
moments.
saying, they took the opportunity. What happened was this all happened right before
the
like,
milkman.
social media and like being obsessed with everyone really was at a high peak. They started that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if she would have started this maybe like 5 or 7 years ago, she wouldn't be who she was. But they saw the opportunity. Chris is a marketing genius. She knew how to go to everybody in every business atmosphere and be like, hey, if you want to get this attention, because everyone's all about attention and validation and seeing how they can get more attention onto what they want to do. And Chris saw that, and she was able to negotiate deals that would bring money to her daughter, that opened more doors and opportunities for her. You got to give the girl credit. She has skin. She has skin.
It's called white passing and privilege.
Well, they all first of all,
And they assimilated with it, and they did it on the backs of us.
No, because you got to think about it. They already
And
had
look at
Yes.
us supporting them. Look at us supporting them.
They already had money. Her dad was Rob Kardashian, known for OJ.
And that was off the backs of OJ. See?
And
Okay.
in terms of having money, Sir Ken, it has been reported that they actually, once he died, they couldn't even pay the debts that he had incurred. That they were on the verge of financial ruin, and the only way to save themselves was for Kim K to do what she had to do.
I
I don't believe in.
She was with what's his name, Caitlyn. He had money. He had endorsement deals that he held on to.
She had money.
Because
inside of that body, she was always there.
Well, she had endorsement deals that were at the time the top endorsement deals, like with Wheaties, that nobody else had. She's an Olympic gold medalist, so she had money. Okay, so it wasn't like we can't look at them as, oh my God, they came from nothing to something.
Their Wheaties money ran thin.
Huh?
Caitlyn Jenner's Wheaties money ran thin.
No, it did not. No, it did not, because Bruce did something that a lot of people weren't doing. Caitlyn did something that wasn't being done by a lot of people back then, which was he actually invested. He invested a great deal of his money into a lot of technology corporations, and also he invested his money into a lot of sports things. So he always have money coming in. He actually has a lot of money. And so that's what I'm saying. And it's not like Kim came from nothing. She was working with Paris Hilton. She was actually working for Brandy. You know, she was doing the whole, what is they call when you rearrange the closets and stuff and sell the old clothes on eBay? She was doing that. I mean, that's still more
appropriate. Taking the black discarded leftovers and trying to make something out of it. It sounds appropriate. It sounds on brand.
Okay, so let me ask this then.
Well, hold on, because I actually got my second point to answer your question, because you were like, why is Ray J saying, speaking up about it now? The question is, Kardashians, why are you putting this a part of your storyline, a part of your show in the first 2 episodes of your brand new series on Hulu? Ray J wasn't saying nothing about that. Kim K and one of them kids opened that iPad, and whatever Roblox, whatever game he was playing, had Kim K as an adult star. And then that's how. Hold on, and that's what generated the whole story. So we can't be like, well, why Ray J talking about it now? Why are the Kardashians continuing to allow this story to persist? It's been done. That's what Ray J said during the live. I've been chilling with my family. I'm good. Y'all the ones that keep talking about it. So leave Ray J out of it and focus on the Kardashians. Stop making this old dated salacious stuff relevant in the now. That's the question. Yeah,
I'm gonna do like Whoopi, who did a horrible job last week on The View because she can't read the teleprompter anymore. She's old. We're gonna stop right there. This is exactly where the after show will start on IG. You can go to my IG, Vincent, Sir Ken, Zach's, King Darius, any one of our IGs, where we're gonna start streaming live right now on IG, and we're gonna start off with this whole entire Ray J, Kim Kardashian drama. We have a really good after show for you. The after show is always a little bit more of the pop culture after we've talked about the people and the politics on the main show. And on that, we are going to talk about the cancellation calls for Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears about the when you speak about Kim K and the nastiness, you go over to this and takes to a whole other level of possible criminality. We're going to also talk about, the Sheba Sheree and what you didn't get and all that. So everybody, everyone, all gentlemen, drop your IG tags in the chat so anyone can see it to follow. And once you do that, log off and head on over to the IG. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Shout out to Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Log off and head on over to the IG. Thank you guys so much.